What should we ask the tarot today? I have my Ask the Tarot Love and Abundance Edition Oracle deck that I designed myself. There is a link in the bio for this and a couple of other decks. But in the meantime, what should we ask the tarot today? What is the person on your mind thinking regarding you? So let's pull a couple of cards. Spirit, can we please have a look? For the viewer, the person that is on the viewer's mind, what are they thinking in regards to the viewer? What are they thinking in regards to the viewer? We've got the Lovers. We've got the Nine of Swords, and in reverse we have got the King of Swords. Bottom of the deck we have got the Ten of Pentacles. So this doesn't feel like a light-hearted or casual energy. The combination of these cards, they show that this person has a very powerful pull toward you, and there could be something to do with a moral dilemma and some kind of difficult decision. The presence of this Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, it reveals that they're not just thinking about feelings, they're thinking about future and legacy and long-term life alignment. So, of course, as I always say, this is a collective reading, so please listen to your own intuition as to whether this reading is for you. If you would like your own private reading, then there is a link in my bio to same-day readings or even to soul contracts. So I'm picking up that you are someone that they feel that they could truly build a life with. But right now, there's some sort of confliction and overthinking, and they're perhaps afraid of what this choice means. Now, in this particular version of the Ten of Pentacles, it deviates from the traditional family legacy imagery, and instead it offers something far more visceral, literally. We can see that in each of the pentacles there contains a different part of the human body. We can see in some they have the skull, we see the jawbone, we see some internal organs, the pelvis. But what's really interesting is that they are all surrounded by pansies, and these are also known as heart's ease. So this card is not just about material legacy, it's about embodied legacy. And each of these coins, they hold a different part of the body. And to me, this symbolizes the integration of self. So this person, they might be asking themselves, what part of me is aligned with this connection? What parts are afraid? What must I put back together to be whole with you? There's also a lot of vulnerability here. The inclusion of the internal organs and the bones and the skull, it points to a level of rawness and exposure. And this connection, it likely touches very deep places within them. It can also talk to mortality and longevity. So the imagery, it may point to their thoughts around the finite nature of life and how what they build needs to matter across generations. Not just generations, but I'm also getting something in relation to time. They may be wondering how much time they may have to spend with you. Now, the pansies on the card, these are traditionally linked with thoughts and remembrance and emotional healing, and their nickname, Heart's Ease, that speaks volumes. So with this, there is a longing for peace and for alignment and for something that feels very emotionally restorative. So this person sees you not just as a romantic connection, but as someone who really touches every level of their being, their heart, their body, their mind, and their legacy. But the connection, it might feel quite fragmented or in pieces right now, and they're trying to make sense of how to bring it into full embodied reality. Now, when we link that to the King of Swords that has come reversed, this suggests that someone who is mentally overwhelmed, and we definitely see that here with that Nine of Swords. So this could be someone who even feels disempowered in their own logic. And in this particular deck, that symbolism again is really very potent. So let me turn it the right way up, and we can see that there is a skull, and this represents the mind, the seat of logic and intellect, and it's stripped down to its bare essence. We can also see that there is a blade that is piercing the skull, and this shows that the person's own thoughts might indeed be wounding them. So there's likely some very intense overthinking or rumination, maybe even some mental paralysis with this having come in reverse. So it also suggests that their usual capacity to make rational decisions has maybe been sabotaged. This energy, it has really been turned on its head, quite literally. So they're not thinking clearly, and their internal compass is maybe spinning. We can also see that the image is surrounded by these little black flowers, and these likely symbolize grief or regret or heaviness. So these could be thoughts that are tainted with sadness or shadow, or possibly even guilt. So there's something about this person being in distress, and this connection has flipped them upside down, and rather than bringing clarity, it has brought a lot of deep internal conflict, and their own mind might even feel like the enemy right now, especially in contrast to what their heart is really pulling them toward, which we'll see in this Lovers card. Now, the Nine of Swords is one of the most emotionally intense cards in tarot. And the traditional Nine of Swords, it shows up as someone sitting upright in bed, clearly anxious or distressed. And it's often interpreted as insomnia or guilt or moral suffering. And in this particular deck, we see the presence of these black flowers. So now we've seen it with this King of Swords, and we're seeing it again with this Nine of Swords. And they can represent mourning and shame and regret, or even unprocessed shadow work. And in this context, it really emphasizes that this person is emotionally weighed down by something that they either haven't said or haven't done, or possibly something they did do and now regret. So for me, the Nine of Swords is usually talking about moral dilemma. And it can be this mental anguish that is rooted in ethics or values. And it often appears when someone is wrestling with a decision that they don't know how to make, a truth that they're trying to avoid, or a consequence that they're afraid will hurt someone. It could be you, it could be somebody else. So to me, when I see these particular two cards, they're not just thinking, they're spiraling. And this is where the energy of this reversed King of Swords really evolves. His mind is no longer just pierced, it feels tormented. Now, in traditional tarot, the Lovers, it often signals a romantic connection or a soul-aligned relationship, or more importantly, a pivotal choice from the heart. And in this particular deck, the symbolism is far more realistic. It brings us directly into the physical and the emotional truth of the heart. Within this card, we see an anatomical heart. So we're seeing the thing itself. And in it, we can see these two visible chambers and these branching arteries. And this speaks about the duality within self, or between two people. I'm looking at the arteries that we're seeing here and the valves, and these seem to be the channels of connection. They nourish and they support life, just as relationships nourish our soul's journey. And the fact that we can see them so clearly, it suggests that everything in this situation is highly exposed, or soon will become exposed. And there's no hiding from what the heart wants. Of course, I'm looking at the time, but the imagery of this heart with all of this network, it shows that they already know what and who they are connected to most deeply. And the issue is, what will they choose?